Hi, DrBiology here, and this video is on selective breeding, and it's part of a series of videos on inheritance, variation and evolution. So, selective breeding. Humans have been selectively breeding plants and animals for thousands of years. So this is to develop features that are useful, desirable or attractive. So things like high volumes of milk, beef, disease resistance in plants. So what are the main processes? Well, let's look at the main processes. So first of all, the desired characteristics are identified. So for example, let's say the farmer wants to produce large volumes of milk, so that they will choose a desired characteristic, which in this case is high volumes of milk. So they then choose the animals that produce the most milk, but also the bull, the male cow, the offspring of those cows will also, the female offspring will produce large amounts of milk, and they are bred together. Only the offspring exhibiting the desired characteristics are then bred further. So again, a decision is made on which animals breed, and that decision is by a human. And then this is repeated over many generations until the desired trait is fully developed. So this is the process of selective breeding. Now, more than likely, in an exam question, they would give you some information on a particular plant or animal and ask you to talk about how you would go about selectively breeding that particular example. So you would use this as the process, but you would then in your answers mention the example that is mentioned in the exam question. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So the first one is about breeding dogs. So you can see here the breeder is looking for dogs that have large amounts of spots. So let's say they're Dalmatians, okay, and they choose a male and female with the right proportion of spots. The second generation, those offspring, then the breeder will decide which of those offspring will breed together, and again the ones with the most favourable desirable trait or characteristic, which is spots in this case, and then keep on doing that until they are happy with the outcome, and then you get a dog with lots of spots. So this probably wouldn't happen over 3 generations, it would be over many generations that you would then get this occurring. In terms of plants, crops, we've been growing plants for food for tens of thousands of years, and farmers choose certain traits or certain characteristics that they want in their plants. Now here's a thing that you might not know, that cabbages, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, kohl, rabi, they are derivatives of wild mustard. Okay, so their common ancestor is wild mustard, and farmers have selectively bred versions of wild mustard over time to produce all of those different types of what we call brassicae or brassicas. So here's some examples. So these are the types of examples they might mention in an exam. So animals that produce more meat or milk. So in this case you can see the Belgian Blue is a famously selectively bred cow or bull that produces large amounts of lean meat. You might, in terms of milk, want high volumes of milk, or more common now, lower fat milk, which seems to be more popular with the customer. Crops with disease resistance, so again you would look at those plants that were healthy and therefore had some form of resistance to disease or insect pests, and then you would breed from those going forward. You might also want to produce dogs with a good gentle temperament. For example, here is a cockapoo. So this is a cross between a cocker spaniel and a poodle, and it's a very popular pet for many people due to its behaviour. Also, you might want decorative plants with big or unusual flowers. So what you would do is you would choose the best plants, and then you would breed those plants and produce lots of offspring. Obviously though, this technique does take a long period of time, And in my next video, I'm going to talk about how genetic engineering has really speeded up this process of selective breeding. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of selective breeding? Now, you will be given lots of information probably in an exam question. I'm going to go through some exam questions in a minute. But the key advantages are that you can breed together individuals with the best characteristics. So if you're a farmer, that means that you can maximize your yield. That means the amount that you produce. And also you can maximize your profits. Animals can produce lots of milk and meat, and crops are resistant to disease, so therefore growing very well and healthily. And also dogs with a gentle nature and big flowers. Now the key disadvantages though is that it can lead to inbreeding. So that means if you breed things that are closely related genetically, then it can lead to genetic defects. Inbreeding does make organisms similar genetically, and so if a disease was to come about, then the disease could wipe out large populations of selectively bred animals or plants. Okay, so here we are, we're on a question checkpoint. So as normal, what I would like you to do is to pause, have a go at the question, and then come back. So we'll pause in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this question looks at many different types of animals are produced. Some cats are selectively bred so that they do not cause allergies in people. So suggest 2 other reasons why people might selectively breed cats. Now there are lots of answers. When you see the word suggest as a command word, that means there are lots and lots of answers. So any 2 of the following. So they don't have genetic defects, to produce docile cats, in other words they won't bite or scratch, they'll be friendly as well, and they could be for aesthetic reasons, things like stress relief for the human. Selective breeding could cause problems of inbreeding in cats. Describe 1 problem inbreeding causes. Well, you're more likely to pass on those disorders, or they could be susceptible to disease. Second part of the question. Now this is a bit more involved, so I'd like you to read it very carefully and try and think of the processes of selective breeding before you answer this. So pause in 3, 2, 1. So a real problem for pet owners is allergies that they get from their pets. So the allergy in this case, it says, is caused by a chemical called FeL-D1. Now your teachers wouldn't have told you that, and they don't need to teach you that because the information is there. All right, and you're going to use this information to help you answer the question. So it says different cats produce different amounts of FeL-D1. A cat has been bred so that it does not produce FeL-D1. The cat does not cause an allergic reaction. And then the question says, explain how the cat has been produced using selective breeding. And there are a whole 4 marks here. So the key things is remember the process and explain using the information they've given you. So the kind of answers you're going to think about are these. So the process, so the parents with the desired characteristics are selected. So in this case, you're going to choose those parents with the least FeL-D1. You then breed them to produce offspring, and then you select the offspring with desired characteristics. So in this case, you're selecting offspring that are healthy with low FeL-D1. And you breed those over time, and you repeat that over many generations, and therefore over time the population of cats produces less FeL-D1, reducing the amount of allergies caused to their owners. So it's a very kind of clear answer there, and many of these selective breeding questions are exactly the same. They want you to talk about the process using the information that they give you. Okay, question 2 here. So the scientist wants to produce a type of cattle that makes large volumes of low-fat milk. So they'll selectively breed a bull and a cow that produces lower fat milk. Describe how the scientists would do this. So again, I'd like you to pause and have a go at this question. So pause in 3, 2, 1. So this question is quite interesting because it just wants you to describe how the scientists would do this in terms of getting a lower fat milk. Now you need to remember that a bull is a male and a cow is a female. Many people answering this question tend to talk about cows breeding together, but they don't breed together. It is a bull and a cow. So these are the kind of ideas you need to think about. So first of all, we need to find a female with low fat milk and highest yields, so that produces large volumes of low fat milk. But then you breed it with a male bull whose female offspring have high milk yield. You wouldn't just breed with any bull. You would have a bull that produces offspring that is producing high milk yield and low fat milk. You then choose the offspring with the lowest fat and the highest yield, and then you repeat this. So therefore you choose the best offspring, so the bull and the cow, and then you breed them together for many generations. So again, it's very similar to the last question. Okay, so that brings us to the end of selective breeding. I hope you found it useful, and please do subscribe to DrBiology if you're not already, and definitely put your bell alert reminder on for further videos. I'll see you soon.